Hello everyone, this is the grand finale of this tournament brought to us by Herboloid Esport. This is the last match for this tournament. We saw not that interesting, more like French in it, 39th. YSF just surrendered, so Monolith now has their third place, and right now we are gonna decide the winner for this tournament. In the left side of the ring we have Herboloid team, Kawaii, as some call them. In the right side of the ring we have Ice-T. Both of the teams are super good, very different. Herboloid playing really good, insane individual skill, team play skill, and really solid tactics. Ice-T maybe not having that much of a team play skill or individual skill, yet they have insanely creative tactics, and I really love that when we saw them play yesterday on the evening. That was super cool. I really like that. We have 1 minute left before the start of the first round. This is best of 13. The one team who gets the 7 wins are becoming the grand victors of this tournament. This is going to be a really interesting match because I really don't know what will be the score at the end. This could go either way. This could go even 7-0. You cannot predict that because Ice-T is really interested in their strategies, and they can surprise you and they can surprise the enemy. They did this yesterday 2 to 3 times with some really cool secret weapon tactics and interesting outcomes of this. So 20 seconds. What I really want to see, it is around 10 rounds. I don't want something less than 10 rounds. I want really hard fight, because Herboloid actually slammed almost all of they actually slayed all of their enemies with 5-0 or something like that, or 5-1. So today we want to see some insane amount of rounds. We want to see maybe 7-6 ideally. Okay, let's look to the setups. Herboloid are in defensive position. If this ends in a tie, they will win. So next round will be, they will switch bases, and Team Ice-T will be in the same situation. They will win if the battle ends in tie. This is why Team Herboloid has a lot more heavier setup. Only one EBR, the Scout Machine, the Wheelie Boy. If you compare it to Ice-T, they have almost the same setup, but there is 3 medium tanks, and I think they will, they are going to play on that racks, on those racks. 3 medium tanks and 2 heavy tanks are going to this position, while Herboloid are setting up a heavy defense here. They usually use Kranwagen here to be that aggressive scout that tanks almost anything thrown into him with his turret, because you cannot penetrate it. Yet now we see only chieftains and objects to 7-9 and 1 EBR. They're playing it really aggressively. I wasn't expecting that. Okay. What do we see here? Ice-T is playing this aggressive too. Really aggressive. You do not expect the first round to be this this fast. Everyone took really aggressive positions into the enemy's defenses. And while Ice-T stopped, I think Herboloid is still trying to push it. This position that our Ice-T's chieftains are setting up on these rocks are really hard to push off. Because you cover almost all of your tank and showing up on your turret, and chieftains has really strong turret. You cannot penetrate it with almost anything. There's around 2 to 3 tanks in the game that can actually penetrate it. So, and none of them are here. I mean, in front of the turret. So everyone set up really aggressive positions, and Ice-T are pushing it. While Herboloid stopped on the hills, on dunes, Ice-T are pushing it. Maybe they saw how on the last weekend match ended up with, oh, not last weekend, yesterday match ended up with 5 seconds lead by Herboloid, and they won with 3 tanks alive versus 7 tanks alive, just because it was a tie. So I think they don't want to waste the time, and they saw how Herboloid plays, and Herboloid already lost one of their objects. Nothing here.
The gun's damaged. We can't fire accurately.
Almost all aggression comes from Ice-T. That's obvious, because they need to push the enemy, because this is an attack for them. And yet, I never saw this escalate so quickly. Really aggressive positions, and now they're standing there waiting for some mistake from their enemies, while you see that that sneaky boy on chieftain got caught in crossfire against two enemy chieftains, and they cannot penetrate him. They're losing too much HP. That's a mistake. He can give them at least 1 shot, or maybe more. That's insane. That's a lot of mistakes from Herboloid chieftains. There's some really low HP chieftains of Ice-T team near the base, and yet they cannot peak with that amount of HP, because they can just die to high explosive. I don't think anyone will use high explosive there, but if you make a mistake, you die. So they're playing a bit more careful at this moment, while on the dunes there's a lot happening, and Herboloid loses a lot of his HP and his tanks. Well, if you look at HP bars, they are almost equal. Yet they got one. They are now in equal positions. What are this EBR doing? Not this one. Oh, he's backed up. He has no place to ride on, you know. There's some Dexter's keep back coalition there. Ride on, ride on. Righto. While this Super Conqueror has some weak spots around his gun when you can penetrate it, and I think that was happened. And his little thingy on the top of his turret. That was its place. Right into the gun. Herboloid did really well. They stopped this push, and now IC doesn't have much of time. They need to do something aggressively. They have only 2 minutes left, so they need to wipe out whole enemy team in these 2 minutes, because I don't think they can get to base capture in that time. They're too spread out, so it was a great start from them. Yet now they having a lot of troubles, and I don't see any possibility for them to win here. They are pushing on dunes right now with a lot of tanks. They have advantage, but they don't have time. I don't think you can wipe out all enemy team in that time. When they are in that positions, they are losing their tanks. So 1.5 minutes to destroy 12 tanks, because you don't have time to capture the base. You cannot push their defenses out.
The engine's damaged.
Yeah. You see the outcome. There is no way for IST to win this round. They just don't have the time. And they need to do something really fast and really aggressive. And you cannot do that when enemy set up such a good defenses here.
One of our tracks is damaged.
That was a really close matchup for first 5 minutes, yet they lost too much time waiting for the enemy. And this ends up in 1-0 with Team Herboloid in lead. They tried to push really aggressively, and they were destroyed. Hey you, wheelie boy. What are you trying to do? In the end, he stayed alive. Good job. Okay, now we have 3 to 4 minutes before the next round starts. You can write in the comments. I will try to answer it. You should know that this is delayed for 10 minutes because of the tournament rules. So there is no one sneaky watching what their enemy is doing. Okay, we have 3 minutes. Now they are gonna switch spawns, so Team Herboloid now would be in attacking position. They need to push out their enemies out of it. I didn't saw a lot of interesting setups from Ice-T on the first round, yet you cannot do something really highly creative on this map because chieftains are the best here. So you can try to use artillery, yet after the recent nerf to it, it's not out of enough of damage for it. So it's almost like going to the battle with 14 tanks. So. Okay, we now can see the setup from Team Herboloid. For attacking position, they got 2 EBRs and 1 907. Yeah, all of the other tanks are the chieftains, because, you know, they are the best on this map, at least. Thirty seconds before the start. Hmm. Ice-T has not that heavy of a setup that Team Herboloid had. I don't know where they actually want to set up this 907. So our Willy Boy destroys those covers here. Yeah, the Herboloids set up on really good position that can spot the enemies on this K line when they're peeking. And this one goes to really aggressive. Aggressive adventure to get the information about the spots of the enemy technique. Almost all of the tanks of Ice-T are here. They're spread actually almost identical as the Herboloid last round. Yet we saw this strategy with those 4 sneaky chieftains from Herboloid on Saturday. This little EBR figured out where the enemies got the punishment for it, and his ally returned it. Okay, okay, really good. These 4 chieftains from Team Herboloid are sending them to the middle of the map. They have a really good position here. I don't think it is a good position for 4 of the tanks, yet 2 to 3 machines here can put a difference into the fight on the dunes. So as you see, they just cannot penetrate it right there. You see some movement on the rocks. Team Herboloid pushes IST's defenses here. There's 2 heavy tanks, 2 chieftains, yet they're separated. They cannot help each other. Well, there is 1 more chieftain sitting inside the lake, inside the river, that can help him. Both of them, so. And 2 more on the rocks on the base. They're pushing some movement. At that moment, there is some movement on the dunes. They're pushing it up. Those 4 chieftains got really close to their base. Where are you? There they are. They're pushing up them from 3 different directions, even 4 different directions, really aggressively, taking a lot of damage. They destroyed that 1 chieftain that were set it up here. That that 1 chieftain. And now they have really good positions to the enemy base. Kill for the EBR? No, there is no kill for the EBR. This push on the dunes ended up really bad for Herboloid. Yet they are getting all of other positions really good. They're pushing up enemy. I think IC needs to get some of their tanks back from dunes to their base, because they are in huge disadvantage on this flank. And they are doing it. But now they have a lot less tanks to output some damage, yet they have a better positions. This equals them, yet they need to do something with other tanks in the dunes that are going to push up them. There's almost equal HP amount on both teams, yet Herboloid has a lot more tanks. Not for long. I hope your crew really liked that coffee when they burned out. Yeah, this is a huge advantage. They cannot outpush them. They can try to get those guys on the capturing base, but they're losing almost all of their HP to just try to land 1 shot that actually misses. So, you see, Much better strategy, much more aggressive movement from Team Herboloid. 15 to 6. This is how you see the great individual skill, the great team play skill. A lot of tanks with almost one-shot HP. So now we're gonna see the new map. This map will be a surprise for me because I don't know what is it. We saw a lot of that Sand River on this tournament. I think the most of the maps were exactly this map. And now it's Morovanka. We saw this map yesterday. We didn't saw it last weekend. Yet we saw some really interesting strategies. As from Herboloid, same from Ice-T, they both were creative in this map. And I think when Ice-T recognizes that they are not as good in maybe individual and team play skill, we will see some interesting and creative plays from them like we saw yesterday. You cannot outplay Herboloid on their field, you know, with really strong, very casual strategies, yet excellently performed. You need to be creative to beat this. And I want Ice-T to be creative because we saw for last week, a bit more, for whole of this tournament, that Herboloid are really good at those tactics, at basic straight up tactics that everyone uses, yet they perform it so well you cannot outbid it. We saw yesterday how Monolith was destroyed by Herboloid on this half finals. We saw they actually played almost the same tactics, yet Herboloid performed it so much better and made some creative plays with it that they just smashed them 5-0. And you can see some parallels here because yesterday Ice-T played against YSF. They won them with 5-3 score. Yet today, around 2 hours ago, when we saw how YSF was thinking about playing against Monolith, we saw that they just surrendered. And if Ice-T played 5-3 against guys who surrendered to the team that was beaten by Herboloid 5-0, you can count 2+2. Yet Ice-T is played some creative ways yesterday, and maybe we will see some of them today. I don't know either Himmelsdorf on this map pool, yet I really want to see it. You heard this a lot from me from this week, so yet we didn't saw it, at least on my stream. We had one match on previous Saturday, not this one, previous Saturday. We saw one match on this map. You see a lot more creative setup from Herboloid here. One STB, one Badger, and we all know that in some positions you just cannot push if there's one Badger. Such a pretty tank. Okay, there is 3 chieftains left to defend the left part of our base. Team IC now is on the defending. Oh, that is really aggressive. They are defending on their base right now, yet they are really pushing it. Or maybe I'm confused, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and Herboloid are defending right now. That can explain some things that happening in this round. Really defensive positions from Herboloid, yet really aggressive from IC. There is some intense shooting here, yet Herboloid lost one of their objects. This one chieftain is going to really aggressive position, and if he performs it well, this could be a game changer. Oh, there's that sneaky Badger. You will not see him until he starts destroying your team. And when he starts doing it, you're screwed. That's a really good strategy. Really good strategy. They're backing up. They're backing up. They figured out that there's set it up this Badger trap, and they're going to push it on the first and second line. You can see the movement right now. Yet, still, Herboloid are sitting in really good positions. They took one of their EVRs, yet still having 2 of their light tanks. Manticore is really if they tried to push from the forest, Manticore would have changed the outcome of this game. With the Badger. If you see like that, almost all of both teams are British. So that's interesting. They regrouped, and I think they're going to do some aggressive pushing right here. yet I don't think this will end well for the team, because there is a lot of tanks waiting for them to push here. They're gonna lose a lot of HP on this move, and I don't think if they will stop this first one, the others are screwed. They didn't. He has set it up one of them on track. They lost a lot of HP. That is really interesting. You see how they are pushing from almost three different directions, and they're doing this well. They're actually dealing more damage than they're taking in attack. That's unexpected. Yet really good, really performed well. I think we are going to see some active Badger plays right now. He already took some damage. There's one chieftain in the forest that makes his life a nightmare. Yet, Herboloid has to stay alive for like 3 minutes and 30 seconds to win this. There's not much time for Ice-T left to kill almost all of the enemy team. They just got 4 of them right now. And this chieftain will see his nemesis, this little badger, sitting up. I don't think he can penetrate him right there. And this badger completely stops those 2 chieftains. Or maybe not. Looks like they're trying to push it. I don't think they see him. Yeah, they don't. They don't see him. There's 2 minutes left. 2 minutes for them to push, and I think they're trying it on the first line. Yeah, they do try it. They are gonna meet some really heavy resistance. A lot of tanks with really low amount of HP. This STB deals quite a lot of damage. He is really good on those kills with his... I don't know how to call it in English, so I'm sorry for that. Oh, Badger didn't penetrate him. Looks like Ice-T actually outperformed Herboloid here, and I really like it, because we can see some more of the rounds. That was a really good push. They didn't lose that huge amount of HP that I expected. And because of that, they won this round. And now it is 2-1. And still Herboloid is on the lead. We have 3 to 4 minutes to wait for the next round. I'm going to take a little break. Right after I'm setting my spectator ready. Really good plays from Ice-T. I was not expecting them to stay alive after that really aggressive push. And now they are in defensive position, so they have some kind of an advantage. and Herboloid needs to push them out. So, let's see. Yes, who is back? And we have 10 seconds before the round 4 starts. We have 2-1 score with Herboloid in the lead. Yeah, we see that IST uses almost the same strategy with some addition with VK72. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting to see that tank today. 3 EBRs from Herboloid. That's actually can put them in real disadvantage on the HP side and damage output. Let us check what they are planning to do. They're splitting almost equally. One going to the middle of the map. They're splitting into 3, maybe 4 groups. I think they will wait for the wheelie boys to get some information about the enemy. Yet, IST setting up really similar defenses that Herboloid set up last round. Yet we see their Badger is in different position. That can be huge. And we see some Kranwagen shenanigans here. All their scouts are alive still. Got some information on the enemy positions. We see some movement from Team Herboloid. They are setting up 3 of their chieftains to the forest. No, not 3. 5, 6 of them. 6 of them are going to the forest to get some help to 3 of their chieftains that are already here. 2 of their chieftains are sitting up. 1 of their chieftains is sitting up in the middle, and 1 their object is sitting up in the middle of the map. And there is 1 really aggressive chieftain. Let me try to... He's taking some damage. No, he didn't. There's a really aggressive position, yet they cannot penetrate him. Some blind shots from him. We as spectators can see a lot on the map, and this is how Team Herboloid will now see map. So they know they spotted some of them on the first line, on A line, yet they are almost completely blind right now. They're trying to push on the forest, I think. There's 1 really aggressive EBR that can... If he will be spotted, he will just instantly die, I think. There's almost no way for him to live through this. No, he can live. He is spotted. He's doing really aggressively. He's gonna take some damage. No, he didn't. This is some really intense matches. I do like it, and I think we can go to our goal to see the 10 or maybe more rounds here. But max we can see today is 13 in this match, in this finale. They're starting to push on them, and I don't think this is a really great idea, because they are almost all of them are in 1 position, and if they try to focus them, they are really in... Because we saw the last round, IC could have performed this well, because just they pushed from 3 different directions. That split up the damage, and they could deal damage because you cannot cover your tanks from all the directions. And now they're pushing in almost 1 direction, and their chieftain on this aggressive position are going to die. He's 1 versus 4. Some of these teammates trying to cover him, but yet this will not save him. Yet we see Herboloid actually performing well. They're destroying some of the tanks. They have the tank lead, yet HP lead is not that obvious. It is present, yet not that big. And they pushed up so well. They actually destroyed this direction. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. We didn't actually saw what our VK doing. He has quite a gun, yet he's really struggling with those heals because he cannot lower his gun enough to shoot from them. And now I think Herboloid will push enough to the middle of the map to get almost all of them out of cover, because their allies cannot help them. They have 3 minutes left, they can capture the base, and I don't think Ice-T can actually do something to them when they are capturing it. And they're not going to capture, they're going to destroy their enemies. VK is actually a really interesting decision, yet he didn't perform well in this match, I think. He can penetrate chieftains in their turret, I think, because he has insane penetration on his accumulated rounds. Yet there's only one Willy Boy is alive, and he's going to die right now. It is 3-1 with Herboloid in the lead. Now we're going to see a new map, and actually I do not know what is this map. I actually should have checked. Yeah, I think we could have some fun with this element of surprise. See my reaction live, almost live, because it's 10 minutes delayed. Yet it is highway. That's actually really interesting map with, you cannot see it in a lot of tournaments these days. It was actually really popular 3-4 years ago, and right now it is some kind of mid-tier for tournaments. Yet we saw it previous weekend on the Sunday, around 5 rounds on it, I think. We have 3 minutes to the start of the 5th round on a highway. Herboloid are setting up really heavy setup, a lot of objects, and a lot of chieftains, of course. 2, maybe 3 bars. 2 bars. They are going in this defensive position. So carrying a much heavier setup is actually kind of obvious. You could benefit from some extra HP. seconds before round 5 starts on the map highway. We will see the Ice-T setup. It is actually a lot lighter than Herboloid has. A lot of objects 907, 2 bars, the same. No objects 279 and a bit more of chieftains, because actually they're just the best and you cannot do anything with it. I don't think we will see something really interesting from Herboloid, because they're just gonna set up their defensive, and we will see Ice-T's objects are going to the A line. I think so. With the cover of their little wheelie brother. Oh, they are not sending anyone into the city, and almost all of Herboloid's tanks are near the city. That is going to be really interesting. They can push with almost no HP loss and get just into a real intense fight with almost full HP on their tanks with no tank loss, if they perform this well, because Herboloid will have a lot of troubles by pushing all their objects back to their base. Maybe they'll figure something out when they realize there is no one in the city, and they will push it before the enemy strikes. Yeah, they strike already. Really aggressive push, and no one can actually shoot them, but there is no one looking at this spot. And no one actually sees them. This is huge. This is why I liked Ice-T yesterday, because they're doing some really creative strategies. I really like how they do it, if they do it. Herboloid doesn't know right now that there's no one in the city. They're just wasting the time, and they will have no time to push all of their heavy tanks back. I don't know actually why Ice-T stopped here, because they actually do have insane advantage before the Herboloid team gets all their objects back from the city. There is one EBR that are sitting on their base, so they cannot. So so Herboloid cannot send their EBR to capture it. Yet, if they do it with their objects, they can actually capture the base before Ice-T will destroy their defenses. But objects are not that fast as chieftains or EBRs, of course. They still have one middle tank back, one object 907 back to the base, to see if there is going to be one EBR trying to capture it, while they're sending out their base sitting EBR to get some information to spot the enemies. This 907 that came back to defend the base is actually going to the city to check what's happening here. There's some movement from IST. Yeah, they're going to push them. They will get into some little crossfire, but they will not take as much damage as you can imagine right here. And they output and some damage too. Herboloid setting their 279s back to the defense of the base. Not all of them, actually. One of them engaged in the battle with the 907. And if he kills it, he can go to base capture. Maybe. Yet Herboloid loses their tanks drastically, really fast. There's some low HP enemies. They are getting destroyed here. That is insane crossfire. And I don't think, yeah, they're not going to survive it.
Can't go very fast. One of our tracks is damaged. Track hit. One of our tracks is damaged.
There are 279s getting back, but they cannot, or they can. They're doing it. They're shooting the capturers on the base. They actually turned it up. That is insane. I missed how that happened. That happened in like 10 seconds.
Une de nos chenilles est touchée.
IST now have some real problems because they are surrounded. They pushed really well. They destroyed a lot of Herboloid tanks, but they could not destroy those 279s that came back from the city. They almost full HP on all of them. It is 15 to 6 again after insanely great push from IST. Herboloid set up the perfectly good counterattack and destroyed them, and I couldn't see how that happened. I tried to, but I cannot. Really good plays from both of the teams. Now score is 4-1 with Herboloid in the lead. They need to win only 3 more times to get victorious on those finale. Now Herboloid is on the attacking side, and they're getting some leopards here. This is the kind of medium tank that is actually a tank destroyer, more type of class, because it is a glass cannon. This one doesn't have any armor yet. His gun is so good. This the most precise gun in the game, I think. And this really fast and really precise dude will just destroy enemy EBRs, I think. Yeah, they're setting up one Leopard, one Polish medium tank CF-63, 2 EBRs, yep, 2 EBRs, only 2 medium tanks and 2 light tanks, and all of it are carried by 2, 3, 4 objects, 279, and all other side chieftains. We have one and a half minutes before the round 6. This is some intense fight, I like it. I really hope we'll see some of those maybe a bit more creative ways from and plays from Ice-T, so they can actually win 3 to 4 rounds in a row. That will be really cool. Yet I don't think their creativity is enough to beat up Herboloid. They're doing it really well. They're pushing it really well. I was not expecting them to win this round when they won this on the Morovanka. Thirty seconds left. Ooh, I like those German super heavy tanks. They tried with 1VK 72K and they thought he done well, he can penetrate those chieftains in the turret. Why don't you bring 2 of them right now? Super heavy setup, only 1 EBR, they are really going for that defensive strat. That Super Conqueror can do some nasty things if you set up him right. Those VKs are even more insane. They will go to the to the city. I think they can really well trade with enemy chieftains and objects to 7-9. They're setting up some chieftains here. On the A line, almost all other chieftains are set into the same spot that Herboloid set up. You cannot be really creative in the defense, yet they're really trying it. So what Herboloid is doing, they're actually sitting for that EBR to show up to kill it. And after that they could go for some really aggressive maneuvers. Yet the enemy EBR is really careful. He's not even trying to spot the enemies. His allies don't know where the enemies is. They only know where that only 1 EBR is, I think. Yeah, no, they don't know even where the EBR is. They only know that he spotted them from somewhere near. Yeah, they're going to the city. They're pushing from the west to the city. They will not meet some of the resistance when they enter it, yet when they go into it, they will have to deal with those VKs. They're insanely good around these corners. I really want to see those 2 in action. Object is going to try to peek. No, he's not. Ooh, that is a really bad situation for Ice-T in the city, because they are getting pushed from two different directions, and their allies cannot help them. They need to regroup and do it really fast, or they will lose a lot of HP. Didn't penetrate it. This is intense. He tanking it. That's insane. That is really insane. The Herboloid are getting some HP lead in the city. Ice-T pushing them. Ice-T is pushing them to the city, and they are starting to take a lot of the enemy's HP, losing some too. They are almost equal right now. Good focus on one chieftain. He is trying to cover up, but he cannot because there's too much enemies from too much of the directions.
Crack hit.
That Polish little boy is going to die right here. I cannot hold myself to not see how these two are doing. And they cannot penetrate them. That's insane. They have around 15 seconds cooldown between that reload between the shots, and they really need to land every shot they could. One of his friends is already dead. He's on one shot HP. And Herboloid are pushing from different directions. No, they're split it up, and then it is wall on wall. These EBR are going to do some dirty things, I think. They have a little HP lead. He tanked it. How he is doing it? This is insane. This dude can penetrate some of the modern tanks, and he's still just tanking them. I'm feeling really sad for this weak case. Yep, Herboloid are in the lead. They have insane HP advantage and tank advantage. Almost double. Tank advantage is doubled. Now almost triple. And they're taking this round. That was a 6th round. And now the score is 5-1. And that's a win streak for Herboloid. 3 wins in a row. Really good plays from them. And you cannot say much about it. They're just good. Almost all of them are on 1 HP. This EBR could have actually destroyed them. 4 of them if he just spotted and shot them first. And he sees the only one who is having a lot of HP, he cannot kill him. And now he is spotted. Yeah, I don't think he's going to survive this. He's going to. That was the penetration, and he got his gaze captured. Okay, okay. This music is. I just want to get up my Sweden Wesson in 45 Magnum. Okay then, we have 3 minutes before the round 7. Herboloid is in the huge lead. I'm feeling really bad about IC. I think they are now demoralized. It is Morovanka. We didn't show this map on this tournament, I think. Oh, we did show it on the Sunday yesterday. Not yet. Previous week Sunday. And this could be really passive, but you... S7. Are you for real? This could be a really passive map. Herboloid are on defense right now, but you cannot play this passive because you need to attack the defenders. So that is a point. We didn't show that much of attack defense shenanigans last week because there's a huge skill difference between some of the teams, and now we see that those teams are actually, you cannot see it by the score, but when you see they're in game, you see that they're actually almost equally skilled, and they need to take every advantage they have, and we see a lot of this attack defense shenanigans. Kowalski on IS-7. And that STRV could make a huge difference on some positions. You almost cannot spot it until you ram it, Okay, this thing is invisible. We have one EBR, one Manticore, two STRVs. Okay. Some chieftains, one IS-7, one object to 7-9. And 1 second before the round starts. Round 7. Morovanka. This map is based on real location. It was the biggest tank battle in the history, in the world history. And it was summer of 1943. You can check this out. Is actually a really interesting subject, but we're not discussing it right now. We see that Ice-T has a lot of medium tanks. One STB, one Polish medium tank, two EBRs, and a lot of 907s. And some chieftains. And we see that they're almost completely going for this A1, B1 positions. For almost all of the battle will go on the first and the second line. As Herboloid thinks, wow, we see that Ice-T sends a lot of medium tanks to 7 and 8 line. They are going to make some crossfire, but this defense position from Herboloid are actually so powerful that you just cannot outshoot them right here. But we'll see. Ice-T actually survived us today with some of their plays, and they actually performed them really well. This IS-7 is really tanks well with the side of his turret. That is interesting. They think will be spotted just by ramming into her. Yeah, I think the Pro Harper will be a really passive one. They backed almost all of theirs. Yeah, almost theirs medium tanks. They left one chieftain on the A6 to get a little crossfire. And I think they will try to push on the first and the second lane. That's actually a suicide mission. You cannot survive that push. They're going for it. That's insane. You can just experience this first person. They stopped, okay. Oh, this IS-7 takes it. Precision on his gun is actually not the bad thing about this tank. It's more about his armor, because it is really unfair, some can say. Yeah, they're going for it, they're pushing. They are pushing. You just can see. I will not comment this, you just can feel how the pain they are feeling. They're actually going really well. This one is done. This was actually a really good push. They done it so fast. Herboloid cannot kill them that fast, so they will not push them further. But they're losing insane amount of HP. This is insane HP lead from Herboloid, and they will start to take some of the tanks right now. You just can see how much damage those two outputs. Oh, they're not. They are waiting for the enemy to push. They're even not moving. They think their chief tanks will deal with it. And they are actually doing. And they are doing with it really well. They are sending their scout to find the enemies. Yeah, they can see him. This is a really tough map for the attackers, because you just can die in one single blow, and it is really harsh to see all the resistance in one place. You cannot push them from a lot of directions. You need to be really sneaky and really fast at the times. So that's why they're bringing up a lot of those 907s. The lonely survivor of all his group. They pushed well. I was not expecting them to do this well, but come on. Ice-T survived was today quite a lot of times, so but this EBR is still alive, it still is not spotted, as those two. Yet still, Herboloid has insane HP lead, insane tank lead, and time playing for it. So I think this one actually did a lot of damage. He tanked quite well, and someone got into his little turret commander. Yeah, they're not going to make it. 2 minutes left. They cannot push them from here. It's just too hard for them. And those two STRVs can actually annihilate 2 to 3 tanks just before they actually spot it. So you can actually bring those into attacking team as well, because they are doing really well. If it was an STRV on this spot, this would have been a really hard days for Herboloid, because this one could have just annihilated him. This is a good tank, yet on this position, STRV is too good. There's 1 minute left for Ice-T to destroy their enemies or capture the base, and they have insane HP and tank disadvantage, and Herboloid starts pushing them. 57 seconds left. All they need is just to... They're playing a parade. This is the 6th win, I think. No, yeah, this is the 6th win for Herboloid. We are playing today for the 7 wins. The team that got the 7 wins first wins this tournament, because it's a finale, obvious. You may call me Captain Obvious, yet still. This is a win for Herboloid. They won this 7th round. Yep, 7th round. There is going to be... This is going to be a match point for Herboloid. They need to do the insane thing. They need to push out the similar defenses they were setting up right now. And if they do it, they win this tournament. They got their deserved first place. And maybe this is a match point, so maybe Ice-T will risk it and do something creative, maybe. We see some Manticores, some EBRs, and as we can see right now, Herboloid setup are a bit more heavy on their tanks than it was with Ice-T. Just a bit. They're not using those STRVs. And they're even not using those Polish medium tanks. So I think this will be a straight push from 2, maybe 3 directions. You can really struggle with some of those directions on this map. Yet we have 1.5 minutes before the start of maybe the last round for this tournament. Mm. 15 seconds. This will be the 8th round in this match, in this finale. I wanted to see 2 more, maybe we will, because it's actually really hard to... Oh, so they brought some of those to once STRV. Okay, I missed that. I want to see at least 1 more map, and we could, because actually defending Morovanka is much easier than attacking it, I think. But we will see, actually, how Herboloid will perform this attack, because you cannot really do something creative in the defense, because the setup is similar. I still didn't want to risk it, they were just trying to do the same thing Herboloid did. It can be better. They brought 1 more tank destroyer, Badger, who can really perform well as both heavy tank and tank destroyer. Oh, that's interesting. They're doing something creative. There's a lot of those heavy tanks. They're setting up. On the right side of the map. This is some interesting defenses. This doesn't seem right. Is he lagging? Okay, we'll forget about that. We're starting to see some strange lags, and I hope this will stop soon. But we can still watch it. This austerity gets really aggressive positions. He's spotted. That was a really good position if he wasn't spotted. But he did. It does see those two. They are gonna take damage. Cause he did. Yet if you look to the score, Herboloid are still in the lead. They are in lead by tanks, not right now, but no, they're actually losing by their HP and by the tanks. Okay. Herboloid tries to push that in the middle of the map. I don't think this will end really well, because this Badger will just destroy those chieftains, I think. Is he shooting? Yeah, he does. He didn't penetrate him. Insane. This is insane. This Asterby is making a lot of troubles for Herboloid. And they got this one, the first and the second line, I think. No, they are in huge disadvantage on HP and on their tanks, and I don't think Herboloid can take this one. I do think we will see one more map, at least one more map. Yeah, that's insane lead by tanks. This is pro harp game defense. You just need to be really good at this game, and your opponent needs to make a lot of mistakes for you to get those defenses. Okay, round 8 ends on Ice-T wins, and we are going to the round 9, to the new map. This is a steel match point for Herboloid. Round 9, okay. Okay, interesting. We're almost here. We are almost here. We almost got this 10 rounds. Lassville. Lassville. We didn't saw this map on this tournament, I think. Yeah, we didn't saw this map, and this map can actually be really interesting. Really interesting. So we see some of those VKs from Herboloid. E3, this is a really heavy setup. They're going to defend it to the death. This will be tough for Ice-T to push those tanks out. Yet, they are the first ones who could win at least two rounds against Herboloid, because we saw Monolith go 5-0. We saw only one time. I don't actually remember who did this. They lost one round in the first day of this tournament. It was 5-1, yet they lost one. And this is the most wins anyone on this tournament had against Herboloid team. So, this is another achievement for you, Ice-T. Thank you. Lastville is actually, if you look at attack defense strategy, is maybe even harder for attackers to break their defenses. So, and while in the first round on this map, Herboloid are in defense, they have quite an advantage. And I think IST needs to give some really interesting strategies here. And they are two having really heavy setup. Mouse E100, maybe even no, not heavier than Herboloid's, because Herboloid's doesn't even have a light tank. I want to know where the mouse will go. I think Herboloid will send some chieftains into the city. Some of those E3s will be on the first lane. No, they're sending chieftains for the first lane. And... okay. This will be a really hard task to break his defenses. Mouse will take some damage before he understands where the enemies will go from. What is he doing? I don't get it. Is he trying to make a cover for... He is trying to do it. He's trying to make a cover for this object. So he will be covered from the two different directions. And you cannot push them. That's actually really interesting strategy. Okay. I never saw that. Chieftains are coming from the city. This will be really hard for IST to break their defenses. Those E3s are actually almost invincible in those positions. I think only those VKs carry the rounds that can penetrate this little turret on top of this tank destroyer. So everything else is quite useless against them. This E100 just pushed this mouse because he's a bit faster and almost as much heavy as him. It gives him about 2 to 3 kilometers per hour. This is good. There's almost 3 minutes gone for the iced tea. This is really good for Herboloid because time plays for them, and he's burning. He is burning. Holy. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage. Okay, they are now in positions, and I don't think that they can... Ooh, look at that beauty. They are using high explosives. That's interesting. That is really interesting. mouse is pushing to this. He is creating the space for the capture. Now I see this. Okay. Yet this 279 can just annihilate everyone who is trying to capture this base. If he survives this, he cannot. That's insane. I really like it. Those mouses are not a thing, they're just another wall to cover your teammates. And they send the capture group to their base, the enemy base. These can be really close. Yeah, they are going to destroy this one and go for the capture. And they're setting one more back. They're sending this chieftain to help his friend, but he will be dead before you came back. Yeah, he is dead and he will be 1-2 against the 2. Those VKs carried quite a punch. Yeah, still Herboloid is in huge HP and tanks lead. And I still losing their tanks that they are sending to their base defense. They are sending one more to capture enemy base. I still losing almost all of their tanks trying to capture. That strategy with dead mouse cannot help them. And Herboloid push them. This is it. The final round of this tournament. Grand finale. They are even killing each other. The grand finale. Herboloid takes the 7th win. And come on, kill him. He takes the 7th win and ends this tournament, ending up on the 1st place. Congratulations, Herboloid team. 7-2, 9 rounds. We almost had those 10 rounds, but at the end, that was quite a game. I think Herboloid had the highest win rate on this tournament in, if you count only rounds, so. Okay then. I think some of my colleagues that are more on the Russian side, if you know Russian, you can go to their stream, because they will go for interview right now with our grand victorious Herboloid team on the 1st place. Now we have Herboloid in the 1st, Ice-T on the 2nd, and Monolith on the 3rd, and YSF on the 4th, but they just surrendered, so this is not really a good behavior. This is not actually a respectful gameplay, I think. So at the end, thank you everyone who watched us. You can go to, if you know Russian, go to watch some interviews with our victors, and hope I will see you on my next streams. You can get my links in the description. And thank you Herboloid for this amazing tournament, and I hope that Herboloid will make those much more than, I think, like that. At the end, thank you and have a nice day.